Commander Zixthala stared at the glowing screens in front of her. The alien had 6 eyes that could see many colors humans could not. Her blue skin shimmered under the bright lights of the control room. She had been watching space for 20 years, but she had never seen anything like this. "Commander, the readings are wrong," said her assistant, a young alien named Kefta. His green tentacles moved quickly over the control panel. "The sensors must be broken." Zixthala moved closer to the main screen. The Galactic Federation Research Station was one of the most advanced in the galaxy. It could detect ships from millions of miles away. Right now, it was showing something impossible. "Run the scan again," she ordered. The screen flickered and showed the same thing. A small ship was moving through the asteroid field at incredible speed. The rocks in space were huge, some as big as cities. Any normal ship would be crushed to pieces trying to move that fast through them. "Commander, the ship is moving at 12 times normal speed," Kefta reported. His voice shook with fear. "Nothing can survive that." Zixthala had seen many ships destroyed in the asteroid field. The rocks moved in random patterns. They crashed into each other constantly. Even the best pilots in the galaxy moved slowly and carefully through that area. "What species is it?" she asked. "Unknown, Commander. The ship design is not in our database." This worried Zixthala even more. The Galactic Federation had records of every known species in the galaxy. They had been exploring space for thousands of years. New species were discovered maybe once every 100 years, and they were always primitive. "Send a message to Admiral Kethfer," she said. "Tell him we have a situation." Meanwhile, on the human ship, Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair. He was a tall man with short brown hair and calm blue eyes. He had been in space for 15 years, but this was his first time commanding the USS Defiance. "Captain, we're getting some attention," said Lisa Brown from her position at the tactical station. She was a young woman with black hair tied back in a neat ponytail. Her fingers moved quickly over the weapons controls. "3 alien ships are watching us." "Are they hostile?" Morrison asked. "Not yet, but they're powering up their sensors. They're probably confused about how we got through the asteroid field." Morrison smiled. The aliens had good reason to be confused. The USS Defiance was not like any other ship in the galaxy. It used something called a quantum flux drive, which allowed it to exist in multiple places at the same time. The asteroids passed right through the ship because it was not entirely in normal space. "Pete, how's our drive holding up?" Morrison asked. Chief Engineer Pete Collins looked up from his station. He was an older man with gray hair and steady hands. He had built the quantum flux drive himself, working with Earth's best scientists. "Running smooth, Captain. We could do this all day." "Amy, are you picking up any communications from the aliens?" Communications specialist Amy Foster adjusted her headset. She was a young woman with red hair and green eyes. She spoke 12 different human languages and was learning alien ones. "They're talking to each other, but I can't understand much yet. They sound worried." Morrison nodded. This was exactly what Earth had hoped for. The human government had sent the Defiance to make contact with alien species, but they wanted to do it from a position of strength, not weakness. For hundreds of years, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. 5 years ago, they got their answer. When alien signals were detected. The signals showed that there was a huge federation of alien species that controlled most of the galaxy. Human scientists worked day and night to develop new technology. They discovered that the laws of physics were more flexible than anyone had thought. Matter and energy could exist in multiple states at the same time. This led to the creation of the quantum flux drive. "Captain, one of the alien ships is moving toward us," Lisa reported. "It's big, much bigger than us." Morrison looked at the main screen. The alien ship was 10 times the size of the Defiance. It had thick armor and large weapons. It looked like it was built for war. They're trying to intimidate us, Morrison said. Standard procedure for them, I'm sure. Should we power weapons? Lisa asked. Not yet. Let's see what they want first. The alien ship stopped about a mile away from the Defiance. It was so large that it blocked out the stars behind it. Morrison could see gun ports opening along its hull. Captain, I'm receiving a transmission, Amy said. It's in a language I don't recognize, but my computer is working on it. Put it on screen when you have a translation. After a few minutes, Amy nodded. Got it, Captain. They're demanding that we stop our ship and prepare to be boarded. Morrison laughed. That's not going to happen. Send them a message, Amy. Tell them we're peaceful explorers from Earth. We're just passing through. Yes, sir. On the alien research station, Commander Zixthala watched the exchange. She had called for backup, and Admiral Kethver's ship had arrived quickly. The Admiral was known throughout the galaxy for dealing with new species. He used fear and overwhelming force to make them submit to Federation rule. The humans are refusing to surrender, Kefta reported. Admiral Kethver is not happy. Zixthala was not surprised. New species always tried to resist it first. But when they saw the size and power of Federation ships, they usually gave up quickly. No species had ever successfully fought against the Federation. How many humans are on that ship? She asked. Scans show about 50 life forms. 50 against 50,000, Zixthala said, thinking of all the aliens on the Admiral's ship. This will be over quickly. But as she watched, something impossible happened. The human ship began to fade, becoming transparent like a ghost. The Admiral's weapons fired, but the energy beams passed right through the human vessel without causing any damage. What is happening? Zixthala whispered. The human ship became solid again, completely undamaged. It had not moved from its position. But somehow the weapons had missed it entirely. Commander, this is impossible, Kefta said. Matter cannot become non-matter. It violates the basic laws of physics. Zixthala felt a chill run through her body. In all her years of studying space and alien species, she had never seen anything that violated the fundamental laws of the universe. But the humans had just done exactly that. Contact the High Council, she ordered. Tell them we have a problem. Admiral Kethver paced back and forth on the bridge of his massive warship. The alien was 8 feet tall with thick gray skin and 4 arms. He had conquered 17 different species for the Galactic Federation. He had never met a species that could resist his firepower. Explain to me how our weapons missed, he demanded from his science officer. Sir, the readings make no sense, the officer replied. His name was Veximer, and he had studied physics for 50 years. The human ship appeared to phase out of normal. Space-time. Our weapons passed through empty space. That's impossible. Nothing can exist outside normal space. Yes, sir. That's what we thought. Kethvar stopped pacing and looked at the human ship on his main screen. It was small and simple-looking compared to his mighty dreadnought. But it had just done something that should not be possible. How many ships do they have? He asked. Scans show only 1 ship, sir. Are there more coming? No, sir. They appear to be alone. Kethver felt confident again. 1 ship could not fight his entire fleet, no matter what tricks it could do. Open a channel to the humans. I will speak to their leader. On the USS Defiance, Captain Morrison received the alien transmission. Amy Foster had improved her translation program, so the alien words came through clearly. Human vessel, this is Admiral Kethver of the Galactic Federation. You have entered Federation space without permission. You will surrender immediately, or face destruction. Morrison looked around his bridge at his crew. Lisa Brown had her hand ready on the weapons controls. Pete Collins was monitoring the quantum flux drive. Amy Foster was recording everything for Earth's records. "Amy, send this message back to the Admiral," Morrison said. "Tell him we are peaceful explorers from Earth. We have no intention of surrendering to anyone. We suggest he withdraw his forces and open diplomatic talks." Amy typed the message and sent it. A few seconds later, the alien's reply came back. "You do not understand your situation, human. The Federation has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. No species has ever successfully resisted us. Your primitive technology cannot protect you." Morrison smiled. "Amy, send another message. Tell the Admiral that our technology is not primitive. Tell him we are willing to demonstrate if necessary." "Captain, are you sure about this?" Lisa asked. "We don't know how many ships they have. Pete, how many alien vessels are out there?" Morrison asked that the chief engineer checked his sensors. "I count 12 ships, Captain. The big one has about 50,000 aliens on it. The others have between 5 and 10,000 each. So we're outnumbered about 600,000 to 50, Morrison said. "Seems about fair." Lisa stared at him. "Captain, with respect, how is that fair?" "Because we're not playing by their rules, Lisa. We're playing by ours." Admiral Kethfer received the human message and became angry. No species had ever dared to threaten the Federation. He had destroyed entire worlds for less disrespect. "All ships, battle formation," he ordered. "Prepare to fire on my command." The Federation ships moved into position around the small human vessel. They had enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Kethfer was certain the humans would surrender when they saw the full might of his fleet. "Human captain, this is your final warning. Surrender now or be destroyed." Morrison stood up from his command chair. "Pete, are you ready to show them what the quantum flux drive can really do?" "Ready, Captain. Just remember, we're still in the experimental phase. I can't promise everything will work perfectly. That's okay. We just need to make a point." Morrison walked to the center of the bridge. "Amy, send this message to the Admiral. Tell him we respectfully decline his offer. Tell him we suggest he stand down from our territory." When the aliens received this message, several of them laughed. The humans were claiming that this was their territory, even though they had just one small ship. "Sir, should we open fire?" asked Kethfer S. weapons officer. "Yes, destroy them." 12 alien ships fired at once. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles raced toward the USS Defiance. The humans should have been vaporized instantly. Instead, the human ship flickered and became transparent again. All the alien weapons passed through empty space and hit nothing. "What happened?" Kethfer roared. "The ship phased out of normal space again, sir. But this time it's different." "Different how?" "Sir, the ship appears to be in multiple locations at once. Our sensors are detecting it in 17 different positions." Kethfer looked at his main screen. The human ship was flickering in and out of existence all around his fleet. Sometimes it appeared above them, sometimes below, sometimes to the side. Each image looked real and solid. "Which one is the real ship?" he asked. "Sir, they all appear to be real. Each one is giving off the same energy signature." On the Defiance, Pete Collins worked frantically at his controls. The quantum flux drive was pushing the ship through multiple dimensions at once. It was like existing in 17 different universes simultaneously. "How are we doing, Pete?" Morrison asked. "The drive is holding, but this is putting a lot of stress on the ship. We can't do this for more than a few minutes. That's all we need. Lisa, target their weapon systems. Don't hurt anyone, just disable their guns." "Captain, which ship should I target?" "There are 12 of them." "All of them?" Lisa stared at her controls. "Sir, we only have 6 weapons ports. We can't target 12 ships at once. Yes, we can. We're in 17 different positions, remember? Pick the best angles and fire. Lisa programmed the targeting computer. The quantum flux drive meant that their weapons could fire from multiple positions at the same time. She aimed for the alien weapon systems, trying not to cause serious damage. Firing, she announced. The alien fleet was suddenly hit by weapons fire from all directions. The humans were shooting from above, below, and all around them. It was impossible to track where the shots were coming from. Return fire, Kethver ordered. Sir, we can't target them. They're everywhere at once. Then fire at all of them. The alien ships began firing wildly in all directions. They shot at every position where the human ship appeared. But their weapons kept passing through empty space or hitting each other. Sir, we're hitting our own ships, the weapons officer reported. Cease fire, cease fire. The shooting stopped. The human ship flickered back into normal space in its original position. It was completely undamaged. Admiral, we're receiving another message from the humans, the communications officer said. Put it on screen. Captain Narration appeared on the main screen. He looked calm and relaxed, as if nothing had happened. Admiral Kethver, we've disabled the weapons on 6 of your ships. We could have destroyed all of them, but we chose not to. We are not your enemies, but we will defend ourselves if attacked again. Kethver felt something he had not experienced in many years: fear. His mighty fleet had been outmaneuvered by a single small ship with only 50 humans on it. What do? You want? He asked. We want to talk. We want to establish peaceful relations between our species. We want to learn about your Federation and share information about Earth. And if we refuse? Morrison smiled. Then we'll go home and tell Earth that the Galactic Federation is not interested in peaceful contact. What happens after that will be up to our leaders. Kethver thought about this. If the humans could build more ships like this one, they could threaten the entire Federation. But if they truly wanted peace, maybe there was another way. I will contact the High Council, he said finally. But understand this, human. The Federation does not negotiate with inferior species. Admiral, Morrison replied, after what just happened, do you really think we're inferior? For the first time in his military career, Admiral Kethver had no answer. High Admiral Vorthak was not happy. The massive alien stood 12 feet tall with thick purple skin and 8 arms. He had ruled the Federation fleet for 30 years. No species had ever challenged his authority. You're telling me that 50 humans defeated your entire battle group? He asked Admiral Kethver. Not defeated, sir. They demonstrated superior technology. They could have destroyed us all, but they chose not to. Impossible. No species in the galaxy has technology superior to ours. Vorthak was speaking from his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. It was the largest warship ever built, with enough firepower to destroy entire planets. He had used it to force hundreds of species to join the Federation. Sir, I've sent you all the sensor data. The humans can phase in and out of normal space. They can exist in multiple locations at once. Our weapons cannot touch them. Then we will use more weapons. Vorthak had called for the largest fleet in Federation history. 100 warships surrounded the human vessel. They carried a total of 5 million alien soldiers. The firepower was enough to destroy everything in the solar system. Human vessel, this is High Admiral Vorthak of the Galactic Federation. You have threatened Federation forces and violated our laws. You will surrender immediately or face total destruction. On the USS Defiance, Captain Morrison looked at the alien fleet surrounding his ship. He had never seen so many warships in one place. Each one was larger than anything Earth had ever built. Captain, we're completely surrounded, Lisa Brown reported. 100 ships with massive firepower. Amy, What's our status with Earth? Morrison asked. We're still in communication. Sir, Command is watching everything. They're ready to send reinforcements if needed. How long would it take for Earth ships to get here? 6 hours, sir. Morrison nodded. Pete, how's our quantum flux drive? Still running perfect, Captain. But if we have to phase shift that many times, it might overload the system. We won't. Need to phase shift. We're going to try something different. Morrison stood up and walked to the center of the bridge. Amy, send a message to the High Admiral. Tell him we're going to demonstrate why his fleet cannot defeat us. Sir, are you sure about this? Lisa asked. There are a lot of ships out. There. That's exactly why we need to do this. They need to understand that numbers don't matter when you can bend the laws of physics. Amy sent the message. A few seconds later, the alien response came back. You will demonstrate nothing, human. You will surrender or die. Morrison smiled. Amy, send another message. Tell him we're going to take a little tour around his fleet. Tell him not to shoot unless he wants to accidentally destroy his own ships. High Admiral Vorthak received the message and laughed. A tour? Do they think this is a pleasure cruise? Sir, what should we do? Asked his second-in-command. Let them try. When they see the size of our fleet, they'll realize how hopeless their situation is. Should we power up weapons? Yes, but don't fire unless I give the order. I want to see what they think they can do. On the Defiance, Pete Collins prepared the quantum flux drive for something that had never been attempted before. Captain, I'm going to try to create quantum echoes. Instead of existing in multiple locations, we'll exist in multiple states of probability. What does that mean in simple terms? It means we'll be everywhere at once, but we'll also be nowhere at once. We'll be both real and not real. That makes no sense. Sir, that's exactly the point. We're going to break their understanding of reality. Morrison sat back down in his command chair. Do it. The USS Defiance began to flicker and change. 2. The alien observers. It looked like the ship was multiplying. First there were 2 ships, then 5, then 10, then 50. Sir, the human ship is replicating itself, reported the alien sensor officer. Impossible. Matter cannot be created from nothing. Sir, we're detecting 100 human ships. They're surrounding our fleet. High Admiral Vorthak looked at his screens in disbelief. A minute ago, there had been one small human vessel. Now there were 100 ships, each one identical to the original. Which one is real? He asked. Sir, they all appear to be real. Each one is giving off the same energy signature, the same life signs, the same everything. That's impossible. Run a full sensor sweep. The aliens used their most advanced sensors to scan the human ships. Every single one appeared to be completely real and solid. Sir, all scans confirm that there are 100 human vessels, but this violates every law of physics we know. On the real Defiance, Pete Collins was sweating as he controlled the quantum flux drive. Captain, I'm creating quantum probability. Clouds. Each ship they see is a possible version of us existing in a different dimensional state. Are they all real? That's the beautiful part, sir. They're all real, and none of them are real. It depends on how you observe them. Morrison grinned. Lisa, let's show them what these ships can do. Target their weapon systems, but don't destroy anything. Sir, which ships should I use to fire? All of them. Lisa programmed the targeting computer. If there were 100 human ships, each one could fire at a different alien vessel. The aliens would be completely overwhelmed. Firing, she announced. The alien fleet was suddenly hit by weapons fire from all directions. Every single alien ship was being targeted by what appeared to be human vessels. The shots were precise, aimed only at weapon systems and engines. Return fire, Vorthak ordered. Sir, which ships should we target? All of them. 100 alien ships began firing. At 100 human ships, the space around them filled with energy beams and explosions. But something strange happened. When the alien weapons hit the human ships, they passed right through them like they were ghosts. Sir, our weapons are having no effect. That's impossible. Fire everything. The aliens fired every weapon they had. Missiles, energy beams, plasma cannons, everything. The human ships flickered and shifted, some becoming solid, some becoming transparent, all of them moving in impossible patterns. Sir, we're hitting our own ships. The weapons officer reported. What? The human ships are phasing in and out of existence. When we fire at them, our weapons pass through and hit our own vessels. Vorthek watched in horror as his own fleet began to damage itself. The humans were using their quantum technology to make the aliens shoot each other. Ceasefire. All ships cease fire. The shooting stopped. The human ships flickered and disappeared, all except the original one. It sat calmly in the middle of the alien fleet, completely undamaged. Sir, we're receiving a message from the humans. The communications officer said Captain Morrison appeared on the main screen. He looked as calm as ever. Hi, Admiral. We've disabled the weapons and engines on 30 of your ships. We could have destroyed your entire fleet, but we chose not to. We are not your enemies. What are you? Vorthek asked. We're humans from Earth. We're explorers and scientists. We came here to meet you and learn about your civilization. Your technology is impossible. You're violating the fundamental laws of physics. Morrison smiled. No, we're just using laws of physics that you haven't discovered yet. Matter and energy are more flexible than you think. What do you want from us? We want to establish peaceful relations. We want to trade knowledge and technology. We want to learn from each other. And if we refuse? Morrison's expression became serious. Then we'll go home and tell Earth that the Galactic Federation prefers conquest to cooperation. What happens after that will be up to our leaders. Vorthek thought about this. If the humans could build fleets of ships like this one, they could destroy the entire Federation. But if they truly wanted peace, maybe there was hope. I will contact the Council of Worlds, he said finally. But understand this, human. Federation has rules. We have order. We cannot allow chaos. Admiral, Morrison replied, we're not here to cause chaos. We're here to show you that there are other ways to organize a galaxy. Ways based on cooperation instead of fear. You speak of things that cannot work. Different species cannot cooperate. They must be controlled. With respect, sir, that's exactly the kind of thinking that leads to war. We prefer a different approach. Morrison paused and looked directly at the alien leader. We're going to stay here for 1 week. If you want to talk, we're willing to listen. If you want to fight, we're ready for that too. The choice is yours. The transmission ended. High Admiral Vorthek stared at the empty screen, wondering if everything he had believed about the galaxy was wrong. The Council of Worlds had never faced a crisis like this. For 10,000 years, they had ruled the galaxy through fear and superior technology. Now, a single human ship had made their entire fleet look helpless. Council Leader Sixthon was the oldest being in the galaxy. She had lived for 3,000 years and had seen the rise of the Federation. Her species, the Eternals, had been the first to develop faster-than-light travel. Show me the recordings again, she demanded. The Council. Chamber filled with holographic images of the human ship. They watched as it phased through solid matter, existed in multiple locations at once, and made an entire fleet of alien warships shoot each other. This is impossible, said Counselor Vextar of the Warrior Caste. Our scientists have studied physics for thousands of years. Matter cannot behave this way. Yet it did, replied Counselor Hicksmull of the Science Guild. We have sensor data from 100 different ships. All of them confirm the same thing. Could it be an illusion? Asked Counselor Zarben of the Merchant Federation. No. The humans actually disabled 30 of our ships. The damage is real. Council. Leader Sixthon stood up slowly. Her ancient body was kept alive by advanced technology, but her mind was still sharp. Send a message to High Admiral Vorthak. Tell him to begin diplomatic contact with the humans. But Council Leader protested. Counselor Vextar, we have never negotiated with a species as equals. We either conquer them or destroy them. That's because we have never met a species that could destroy us, Sixthon replied. The situation has changed. Meanwhile, on the USS Defiance, Captain Morrison was meeting with his senior staff. They had been waiting for 2 days for the aliens to respond. Captain, we're getting some interesting signals from the alien fleet, Amy Foster reported. They're arguing among themselves. Some want to attack us, others want to talk. What's your assessment, Amy? Sir, I think they're scared. They've never met anyone who could challenge their technology before. Chief Engineer Pete Collins looked up from his reports. Captain, I've been analyzing their ships. Their technology is impressive, but it's all based on brute force. They use massive amounts of energy to do simple things. What do you mean? Sir, their ships are like using a hammer to perform surgery. They work, but they're not elegant. Our quantum flux drive uses the natural properties of space-time itself. It's much more efficient. Tactical Officer Lisa Brown had been studying the alien. Battle formations. Captain, they're not very creative tactically either. They rely on overwhelming firepower and superior numbers. They don't seem to understand flexible thinking. Morrison nodded. That's what I was hoping to hear. Amy, any word from Earth? Yes, sir. Admiral Parker wants to know if we need reinforcements. They have 5 more quantum ships ready to launch. Tell them to wait. If we can solve this with diplomacy, that's better than starting a war. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the alien flagship, Amy announced. Put it on screen. High Admiral Vorthak appeared on the main screen. He looked tired and confused. Captain. Morrison, I have been ordered by the Council of Worlds to begin diplomatic discussions with your species. That's excellent news, Admiral. We're ready to talk. I must warn you, human. The Council is not pleased with your actions. You have challenged 10,000 years of galactic order. Morrison stood up. Admiral, with respect, maybe it's time for that order to change. You do not understand what you are saying. The galaxy is a dangerous place. There are species that would destroy others for resources. There are wars that would consume entire star systems. The Federation maintains peace through strength. But is it really peace if it's based on fear? Vorthak paused. No one had ever asked him that question before. Come aboard my ship, he said finally. We will talk. I'd rather meet on neutral ground. There's a small planet in this system. We could meet there. That is ... acceptable. 2 hours later, Captain Morrison and his senior staff took a shuttle to the planet's surface. The world was empty except for basic plant life and clean air. High Admiral Vorthak brought his top advisors. The meeting took place in a simple dome, structure that the humans had built. Morrison sat across from the massive alien leader. You want to know about human civilization, Morrison began. We come from a world where hundreds of different nations exist side by side. We've had wars, but we've also learned to cooperate. Impossible. Different groups always fight for resources. Not always. We've learned that cooperation can be more profitable than conquest. When we trade with each other, everyone benefits. Vorthak's science advisor, Dr. Kickstar, leaned forward. Captain, we must know about your technology. How do you manipulate space-time? We discovered that reality is more flexible than we thought. Matter and energy can exist in multiple states simultaneously. We learned to use this property instead of fighting against it. But this violates the laws of physics as we understand them. Pete Collins spoke up. Sir, maybe your understanding is incomplete. We've found that the universe has hidden dimensions and quantum properties that can be used constructively. Can you teach us this technology? Morrison paused. We can share some of it, but only if you're willing to change how you govern the galaxy. What do you mean? We mean that maybe it's time to try governing through cooperation instead of fear. Maybe it's time to let species choose their own paths. High Admiral Vorthak stood up angrily. You are talking about destroying the Federation. Without central control, there would be chaos. Would there? How do you know if you've never tried? Because it is obvious. Different species cannot govern themselves. Morrison remained calm. Admiral, we've governed ourselves for thousands of years. We've made mistakes, but we've learned from them. We've built a civilization based on individual freedom and mutual respect. Your species is unique. Other species are not capable of this. How do you know? Have you ever given them the chance? Amy Foster had been recording everything. Admiral, we've been monitoring communications from your fleet. Did you know that several of your ship commanders have been questioning your orders? What? They're wondering why they should follow orders from leaders who were defeated by a single human ship. They're asking why they've never been allowed to make their own decisions. Vorthak felt a chill run through his body. You're lying. We can show you the recordings if you want. Morrison leaned forward. Admiral, your system is already starting to break down. Your own people are beginning to question the Federation's authority. You can either adapt to this change or be destroyed. By it, what are you proposing? We're proposing a new kind of galactic government. One based on voluntary cooperation instead of forced submission. Species could choose to join or not join. They could govern themselves as they see fit. And if they choose to make war, then the other species could choose to defend themselves. But most species would prefer peace and prosperity to war and destruction. Dr. Kickstar spoke up. Captain, this is a fascinating theory. But how could it work in practice? We'd like to start with a small group of species, maybe 5 or 6 who are willing to try this new approach. We could establish trade agreements, mutual defense pacts, and cultural exchanges. And if it works, then maybe other species would want to join, not because they're forced to, but because they want the benefits of cooperation. High Admiral Vorthak sat back down. He felt like everything he had believed about the galaxy was crumbling around him. The Council will never agree to this, he said. Maybe not, Morrison replied, but some of your member species might. And once they see that there's an alternative to Federation rule, they might choose to leave. You're talking about civil war. We're talking about freedom. There's a difference. The meeting continued for several more hours. By the end, Admiral Vorthak was no longer sure about anything. The humans had presented ideas that he had never considered before. As they prepared to leave, Morrison made one final offer. Admiral, we'll be here for 3 more days. If any of your species want to talk about alternatives to Federation rule, we'll listen. The choice is theirs. Vorthak nodded slowly. He had a feeling that the galaxy was about to change forever. 6 months later, Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the USS Liberty. He was no longer just a captain. Earth had promoted him to admiral and given him command of a small fleet of quantum-capable ships. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Centauri delegation. Communications Officer Amy Foster reported. She had also been promoted and now served as Morrison's diplomatic advisor. Put them on screen, Amy. The main screen showed Ambassador Coulter, of the Centauri people. His species had been one of the first to leave the Galactic Federation after learning about human ideas of self-government. Admiral Morrison, I have good news. The Centauri Senate has voted to join the Cooperative Alliance. We are the 5th species to do so. Morrison smiled. That's excellent news, Ambassador. Welcome to the Alliance. The Cooperative Alliance was humanity's alternative to the Galactic Federation. Instead of ruling through fear and force, member species governed themselves and worked together voluntarily. It had started with just 3 species, but it was growing quickly. Admiral, how many Federation species have declared independence now? Amy asked. 12 so far, and 3 more are considering it. The changes had happened faster than anyone expected. Once alien species learned that there was an alternative to Federation rule, many of them began to question why they needed a central government at all. Sir, we're receiving an urgent message from Earth, reported Lieutenant Dave Wilson at the communications station. What does it say? High Admiral Vorthak is requesting a meeting. He says it's urgent. Morrison was surprised. He had not spoken to the alien leader since their meeting 6 months ago. Did he say what he wants to discuss? No, sir. But he's asking to meet on Earth itself. This was unprecedented. No Federation leader had ever visited Earth before. Morrison thought about it for a moment. Tell him he's welcome to visit. But he comes alone, and he follows our rules while he's there. Yes, sir. 3 days later, High Admiral Vorthak arrived at Earth's orbital station. Morrison met him there personally. The massive alien looked tired and older than before. Admiral Morrison, thank you for agreeing to see me. Of course, Admiral. What can I do for you? I need to see your world. I need to understand how humans live without a central government controlling everything. Morrison was intrigued. Are you here officially or personally? Personally. The Council of Worlds does not know I am here. They took a shuttle down to Earth's surface. Morrison had chosen to land in New Geneva, where the United Earth government had its headquarters. But instead of showing Vorthak the government buildings, he took him to the city center. This is a typical human city, Morrison explained as they walked through busy streets. About 2 million people live here. Vorthak looked around in amazement. Humans were walking freely, talking, laughing, going about their daily business. There were no armed guards, no security checkpoints, no signs of military control. Where are your police? Your military patrols? There are some police, but you probably won't see them unless there's trouble. Most humans don't need to be controlled or watched. But how do you maintain order? People mostly control themselves. They follow the law because they helped create it, not because they're forced to. They stopped at a small cafe and sat down. Vorthak watched as humans of different colors and backgrounds sat together, ate together, and talked freely. These humans look different from each other, he observed. Yes, we have many different ethnic groups and cultures on Earth. We've learned to see that as a strength, not a weakness. In the Federation, different species are kept separate to prevent conflict. That's one way to do it. But we've found that when different groups mix together, they learn from each other and become stronger. A young human girl, maybe 8 years old, walked up to their table. She looked at Vorthak with curious eyes. Are you an alien? She asked innocently. Morrison started to apologize, but Vorthak held up a hand. Yes, young human. I am from very far away. Cool. What's your planet like? It is different from here. Much more controlled. That sounds boring. Do you want to see my drawing? The girl showed Vorthak a picture she had drawn of spaceships and stars. It was simple but creative. This is very good, Vorthak said seriously. You have artistic talent. Thanks. I want to be a spaceship pilot when I grow up. That is a worthy goal. The girl ran back to her parents, who who smiled and waved at Vorthek. The alien leader felt something he had never experienced before. These humans treated him like a welcome guest, not a potential threat. "Your people are not afraid of me," he said to Morrison. "Should they be? I command fleets that could destroy this world." "Yes, but you're not here as an enemy. You're here as a visitor. We judge people by their actions, not their potential for violence." They spent the rest of the day touring the city. Vorthek saw human schools where children learned freely, human businesses where people worked together voluntarily, and human families that lived without fear of their government. That evening, they sat in Morrison's apartment overlooking the city. The lights twinkled peacefully below them. "Admiral," Vorthek said slowly, "I think I am beginning to understand." "Understand what?" "Why the Federation is falling apart. Why our member species are leaving us." Morrison poured 2 cups of coffee. "Tell me what you see." "I see that control through fear creates weakness, not strength. When people are afraid, they do only what they must. But when people are free, they do much more than what is required. That's been our experience, your quantum technology. It came from free thinking, didn't it? From scientists who were allowed to explore impossible ideas." "Exactly. Our best discoveries come from people who are free to ask questions and challenge existing beliefs." Vorthek was quiet for a long time. "Admiral, what would happen if I asked to join your cooperative alliance?" Morrison nearly dropped his coffee. "You personally, or the Federation?" "I personally. And perhaps some of the species that are still loyal to the Federation. Not all of them want to leave, but many are interested in alternatives." "That's a big decision, Admiral. Are you sure?" "I have been thinking about this for months. The Federation was created to bring order to the galaxy. But maybe we created too much order. Maybe we forgot that different species have different needs. What about the Council of Worlds? The Council is old and set in their ways. They will never change. But some of us are younger and more flexible." Morrison leaned forward. "What are you proposing? A split? A Federation can continue to exist for species that prefer central control. But there should also be space for species that prefer your cooperative approach. That could lead to conflict, perhaps. But conflict is better than the slow death of stagnation." Over the next several days, Vorthek met with human leaders, scientists, and ordinary citizens. He learned about human history, including their wars and mistakes. He also learned about how they had overcome those problems through cooperation and compromise. When it was time for him to leave, Vorthek made a surprising announcement. "Admiral Morrison, I hereby resign my position in the Galactic Federation. I wish to apply for membership in the Cooperative Alliance." The news spread quickly throughout the galaxy. High Admiral Vorthek, one of the most powerful leaders in the ocean Federation, had abandoned his position to join the humans. Within weeks, 3 more species declared independence from the Federation. They were followed by Vorthek's personal fleet, which included 50,000 alien soldiers and their families. The Cooperative Alliance suddenly found itself with a real military force, led by someone who understood both Federation tactics and human innovation. "Admiral Vorthek," Morrison said during their first alliance meeting, "welcome to the future." "Thank you, Admiral Morrison, but I think the future is just beginning." He was right. Over the next year, the Cooperative Alliance grew to include 20 different species. They established trade networks based on mutual benefit, defense agreements based on voluntary cooperation, and cultural exchange programs that enriched everyone involved. The Galactic Federation still existed, but it was much smaller and weaker. Some species preferred the old ways and stayed loyal to the Council. But many others chose freedom over security, cooperation over control. On Earth, Admiral Morrison received regular reports about the changes sweeping across the galaxy. New technologies were being developed through cooperative research. Former enemies were becoming trading partners. Young aliens were traveling to different worlds to learn and explore. Amy, what's the latest from the frontier? He asked his diplomatic advisor. Sir, 3 more species have requested alliance membership, and we're getting reports that Federation species are starting to question their own governments. Any problems? A few. Some Federation hardliners are trying to start a war with us, but most of their own people don't support them. Morrison nodded. Change was never easy, but it was necessary. Humanity had shown the galaxy that there was an alternative to rule by fear. The results spoke for themselves. Sir, there's one more thing, Amy said. Earth Command wants to know if you're ready for the next phase. What's the next phase? Exploration beyond our galaxy. Now that we've got things stable here, they want to see what's out there. Morrison smiled. Tell them I'm ready. After all, that's what humans do best. What's that, sir? We explore. We question. We never stop looking for B.